Hi, this is Kendall. In this volume of Big Six, we wanted to take a step forward. Wanted things to be a little bit more challenging, but again, the same concept really applies, is how do we get to where we own movements? Oftentimes I tell clients, look, if I let you leave here and you don't own a movement, but I'm asking you to do it with load or to do it in very challenging situations, it's no different than allowing you to leave with a big bullet or a big target on your back. Because if you think about the fact that if you lease a car, you don't own it. You just have the privilege of driving it a certain number of miles for a certain number of months. If you own a car, you own it. All right, so you may pay a car note or buy it outright, but you can do whatever it is you want to do with that car. If you want to leverage it and trade it in to buy something else, you could. If you want to sell it, you could. That's the difference between maybe, let's say, leasing a movement pattern or using a movement pattern that you don't have real good competency with. That when you do that, you kind of put yourself in a situation that that may or may not cause injury at some point. So as we go through this Big Six, the idea is using the movement, exploring it, experiencing it, and seeing what needs to get better. That's kind of the goal of this, is to help you move well. So let's work into that. Okay, we're going to start with a tabletop progression, and this one's going to be a little bit more challenging. All right, so we're going to use some leg extension or knee extension with this one. All right, so our hands are going to go here. We come to tabletop. We're going to extend one leg and then back, the other leg and back. Again, we're engaged here. If maintaining kind of a little bit of space, kind of at neutral, or this alignment where you have some space below your back, but your core is engaged. If that's difficult, then you can imprint or pull your low back into the mat as we work through this. All right. So here, from this position, then we're going to extend, and back. If your fitness level allows, we can go both and come back. And you can play with the height of the extension. So you can go here, or you can work down on each subsequent movement. So the idea is, let's try to do maybe 10 of these, but really kind of working through. So as you extend the leg, we're going to get more engagement from the bottom of the rib to the top of the belt line. So you want to create or maintain some tension there, which allows you to complete the movement. Here's our next position. We're going to go sideline to encourage you to maintain some stability and some tension through the core. So I'm going to make sure I'm kind of extended. I don't want my pelvis to rotate forward or rotate back. I'm going to try to keep everything in line. If you need to keep this hand here for stability, that's fine. I'm going to let my head just lie on my arm here. And so from this position, I'm going to flex my hip, and I'm going to extend my hip. And so the challenge is, as I extend, I don't want to rotate back this way. I kind of want to maintain that. So I can take this arm up, flex, and then extend. And I'm only extending as far as I can maintain stability across this side. To make this a little bit easier, again, you keep the hand here, or you can go flex knee the entire way as you work through here. But you really want to kind of keep your core engaged with this one. Now we're going to do kind of a prone shoulder sequence. It's a way to load the glenohumeral joint or the shoulder joint, but also the shoulder blade itself sitting on the rib cage, so that you're not losing that stability. So starting in this position, here you can go shoulder flexion, come back, shoulder extension, or you can do a row here. You come up, row there, then in a wide position. And so the next side, again, it's flexion, extension, or a row, then here, then up into that wide position. The elbow or the arm that's on the ground should be pushing away from the ground. You shouldn't sink in to that arm. You should push away from the ground, which gives you some initiation or gives you some stability and a good relationship between your rib cage and your shoulder blade. So it's here, You're gonna flex, extend, or flex here, or rather extend there, out to this side, and then through here. If you want to progress this a little bit, you could go opposite from that standpoint. So every time this arm's off the ground, you can extend the hip. But that's again maybe a little bit more of a challenging situation. So moving from where we were, we're going to go from a kneeling to a half kneeling position. All right, so I like kneeling, and you can have your feet pointed or under you. Doesn't matter in terms of the overall goal of what we're looking at, which is just, again, it's giving you a movement experience. So extend the hip so you're nice and tall. You may feel a stretch in the front of your hip flexors. That's the kind of idea. I want you to stay nice and tall. We're going to take the hands, if this is comfortable, and you get your hands behind your head. If your fitness level allows, if your shoulder mobility works, we don't want the ribs to flare. So I don't want you to hyperextend your back. So we're trying to maintain hip extension, pull the shoulders down. So you may go here or here, right? Or you may just keep your hands on your hips so you're aware of what's happening in your pelvis. And from that position, we go to a half kneeling position. So some of you may be familiar with this from the kneeling hip flexor stretch that we do at times. But from here, you get an experience of what standing on one leg feels like as you make that transition, okay? So I'm not asking you to stand on one leg for 10 seconds, but we're gonna take the ankle out of the equation because you may have some limitation in your ankle. And that may be impacting your balance or just your ability to get to an extended hip position. So you're squeezing that glute, stay nice and tall. You're not arching here, tall, back, there, back. Good. Now, if you wanted to, you could shift forward, back to that position, shift forward, back to that position. So that, again, you go from tall kneeling or kneeling, all right, with the hip extended, and then you go into a half kneeling position. Okay, next we're gonna do a little bit of crawling. Again, we wanna engage the shoulders, want core engagement, but also we wanna figure out how to use the lower body as well, because crawling gets us into that pattern that we use for walking, which is a reciprocal pattern, all right? So if you think about crawling this way, you can start here, pushing the ground away, maintaining good alignment. You can look at where you're going and you're getting that reciprocal pattern, all right? So you can just stay on your mat, crawl forward, crawl backwards. If you wanted to, you could crawl sideways. Good, all right? And so that's one way to do this. The other way, which is more challenging, pulling that belly button in again, maintaining good alignment. We're gonna pick the knees up, just barely. We're maintaining good alignment, again, with the spine. We're engaging the shoulders, so we're not dropping through the shoulders. We're maintaining that, and you're working on that crawling pattern, all right? So it's one way you can really, really challenge yourself. Take a hallway, crawl forward, going down, crawl backwards, coming back. You can go sideways. Again, you can crawl around here in a circle. All very challenging. Okay, so now we're gonna do kind of a Roman deadlift, but I like to call these RDL airplanes. All right, and I'm gonna do it this way first, and then I'll turn so you kind of get an idea of what we're doing. So one leg's going back. I'm gonna do this on my right leg, for example. Start in this position. I'm gonna go here, come back, there, come back, there, come back, here, all the way back up, there, come back. Then I'm gonna go airplane, tilt, come back up, airplane, tilt. Now, this is particularly challenging if you have some ankle stability issues. So a great place to do this would be kind of against a kitchen counter, if you have a bar top. If you have a ballet bar at your house for some reason, then go ahead and do that. But using like a stable handrail, but I like if you have an island in the kitchen or a countertop, be a great place to do that. I'm gonna turn this way and I'll do it on my left leg now. So we start here, just kind of single leg stance.
play around with the variations there, but you definitely are loading your ankle. So we're working on ankle stability. You're challenging your posterior chain, which is very important as well in terms of, when you think about moving, when we move forward, what slows us down or gives us the ability to break are the muscles at your back. So great thing to kind of add to what we've worked on already for the Big Six. And remember, movement, we're using movement as an experience because that gives us the ability to see where we're limited, work on those things, and by doing that, we have the ability to move well, live well, and do amazing things. Thanks a lot for tuning in.